This is Potatoes Gang, and today a subject that is very close to the heart of everybody, the economy, because that's how we cope with living. We entered 2019. 2019 obviously has a lot of uncertainty associated with it. There is the uncertainty of elections. There is the uncertainty of oil prices. We know what has happened between the Saudis, the Americans, and the many games that are being played. Oil prices are far south relative to where they were a little over a year ago. There are uncertainties of the creeping civil war in Nigeria. Many parts of our country need complete, if you will, Marshall plans just to revive them from being dead economies. You think of what has been lost in terms of the economies of the Northeast. Add to that what has been lost in the North Central as agriculture suffers from these challenges of insecurity. How will all of this impact projected growth for 2019? How will all of this affect this year in which really we are struggling not only to adjust our economy, but to deal with a transforming global economy that is faced with a challenge to trade from the United States of America and the new attitude to trade. The world has a history of these cycles. You have globalization, a lot of trading, and significant growth. Then people begin to get rich and begin to feel that this wealth they have will be threatened by others getting something. So they begin protective policies like the Americans have started. And then you get beggar thy neighbor policies that ultimately throw the global economy into a recession. Putting all of this together, gentlemen, what will happen to us in Nigeria? What do you think will happen?
Well, I think Nigerian case is a very, I would say, a very funny case because we have not put in the right infrastructure that will require sustainable growth in our economy. Having said that, the policies that our government has in place is having challenges. For example, if you look at the budget, which actually talks about the oil benchmark to be $62 per barrel, which we are, the output now is about less than 2 million, and the oil price is less than that. So I don't know where they're getting their projection. But having said that, we are in electional year where clearly that the politicians would act like they want to spend money, but somehow, somewhere, that money will...
It's very interesting. A part of the uncertainties and the problems of 2019. Typically, politicians spend money a great deal in an election year so that they can create a feel-good, people want to vote incumbents into office. But we have a situation where the incumbent, in my view, a good thing, does not want to go into the kind of madness of spending that we went into in 2014, 2015. But in a state of the economy that is, I don't want to use the word recessionary, this scarcity of money in an election year is a completely new dimension, compounds all the other factors of uncertainty that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, sure, Prof. The pressure is already there. The heat is there, anxiety everywhere. And of course, from the statistics available to us for the past 3 months in the stock market, 729 billion has already been lost And because of that tension, anxiety, especially where you have like the kind of politicians heating up the polity, creates anxiety even amongst investors. And all this is meant to affect the economic outlook of Nigeria. Just like it's been predicted, it's not going to be like the usual years where banks come up with large figures. You know, we may not expect much of that, and then Nigerians should also expect more taxes. And one of the things that is of great worry, even though there have not been any significant way of enhancing our income, you know, you have the ASU there demanding for increase, and of course the labor. And when you culminate all of this, it still run into the recurrent expenditure of the country. And that will mean, you know, it's sort of...
less capital
you know,
spending.
Yeah. I mean, it portends a great danger for the nation.
You know, and let's hook this back into infrastructure, which is very critical for productivity growth, because a lot of the output in this country is wasting because the infrastructure to ensure the movement of these goods not in place. I have had a very peculiar experience traveling quite a bit, as I tend to do around the country. Harmattan has not allowed aircraft land in places like Owerri, Asaba, and all of that. And so sometime in this January, I had to go to Abuja, very important meeting, wait, and after a while the flights are cancelled from Enugu, so we said, let's go by road. And we hit the road. And if you come to that Ajaokuta flank, all these factories that have been invested in are dying because that segment of the road is totally immotorable. And a drive that should take you 10 minutes takes you 45 minutes. So the impact of all of this on output clearly then brings into a state of mystery our projections for growth. Population is still growing, you know, but there isn't the infrastructure base to facilitate production. What do you think?
Prof, 2019 scares me a great deal because so many things going on. The election will really, it's a big challenge. The umpires, INEC, they're a bit confused. There's a lot of pressure to make sure that the election goes one way, to favor those that will benefit, especially the incumbents. And the economy is suffering for it and will continue to suffer for it. Unemployment will still be high, because of some of these things you mentioned. We are deindustrializing, and it's a bit scary. And agriculture, even though they claim to be making progress, but no investment succeed on an environment that is hostile, that is at war. I don't know, Prof, if you remember the time we went to Obudu Cattle Ranch to do the scenario planning, and the 3 scenarios that we came out with, that was in 2000.
Many years ago.
Yeah, 2006, 2007. You know, sitting down and having copies of those, I will go back and read what we, projected. The way to Somalia.
The road to Somalia.
Yes, and all that. Those things are happening. And you did say, Prof, that you're concerned that there'll be a time where we have regional warlords. That was many years ago, running the different regions of the country. And the policies of this government, even the previous one, they're just helping to achieve, for us to come to that level where we have regional warlords. These are some of the concerns. Kidnapping will continue to increase.
One of the things that frightened me about you, Austin, I try very hard not to remember all those things that I did, many of us did in the past, because anytime I look back, I go, oh my God, everything we said would happen 30 years ago has happened. Everything. I mean, and more. But how is it possible that the people can be told that you are going to jump, the fire is there, you are going to jump, fall into it, and the people still keep going?
Yeah. No. That makes you a prophet. Let's say that, because you see, the projection here is we are looking at 2019. What are the way forward? You did mention about infrastructure. You know, what surprises me is every government upon government that comes in keep talking about infrastructure. But when you look, you don't find them. You just mentioned that you went from Enugu to Abuja, and what you saw scaled to you because you find out that those things are not there. But yet, now, if you cannot move goods and services from point A to point B, are you going to be a magician?
There are a few things that have happened in terms of infrastructure. For example, there's a rail line that is now quite reliable between Kaduna and Abuja. That's a major. In fact, if that rail line did not exist, I wonder what's happening because they're killing everybody going on that highway from Kaduna to Abuja. The armed robbers have taken it over. So even generals are now getting on the train to go to Abuja.
Yeah, and Prof, one of the worries I have is that it's been predicted that in 2019, the mainstay, of course, the economy is going to be oil, which may not at the moment, with the debt profile and spending over 2-point-something trillion to service the debt. You know, since we don't have any policy framework on ground to even ensure the creation of more wealth, you know, leveraging on other sources. I mean, it's a worry.
No, because from day one, Nigeria has never been structured to create wealth and prosperity for the citizens, for the country itself and for the citizens.
When the government is seen that way, it will be reduced. We don't want people that are just striving to get there.
There are different parameters that we look into. Now, looking at the economic aspect of it, political stability or instability is one major area of an economy that needs to be considered. And one thing we must understand is 2019 economic condition is a point where we need to determine who takes the mantle of leadership, who handles the governance of the country in moving the economy forward. And it's filled with so much of uncertainties and hope. There are expectations, there are requests, and we have the politicians, the individuals that are lobbying to take the mantle of leadership, and they are coming up with different manifestos, different promises. Over time, we've heard of different things, different promises that brought the hope of the citizens to the high position, and we expected so much, and at the end of the day, we could see the reaction of people towards politics. And this is another time, and from over time, we've also seen that people are going politically, they are becoming politically inclined. Now we see individuals questioning politicians, wanting to know what they really want, and at the end of the day, these people still give us their manifestos, they give us their promises, and it's now left for us to wait and see if these promises will be accomplished. So it's a year that will be filled with so much of uncertainties.
Diversity must be acknowledged and must be appreciated. That's what makes us the largest population of the black race in the world. Nigeria is what it is because of that great diversity that we have.
We're waiting for somebody all the time to come solve the problems of Africa. When our good people in the continent tell us how to do it, we don't believe it. We don't trust them. When our own businessmen do well, we don't celebrate them. No country industrializes another one.
What Africa needs are strong institutions. Everybody accepts that. What Africa tends to do is build strong men, which is completely different from good leaders. We are back. We have heard from the people. Now, it's time to reflect further on this whole business of 2019 and what the possibilities are for the economy. Look, people are hurting. There's no nice language you put around it. People are hurting. Poverty is, let's go away from the statistics of, Brookings found that we are now poverty capital of the world, overtaking India. the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation study suggests that 40% of the poorest people on earth will be in Nigeria and Congo DRC, or Millennium Development Goals. Let's even go away from those statistics. I mean, 80% of the text messages I get on my phone come from people I don't know how they get my number. And some of them call you, and as soon as they call you, they begin to cry. So, say, yes, who are you? I'm in the hospital. My children have not eaten for 3 days.
No, but these are realities, because what we are talking about, going back to what Austin was mentioning about trader money, I see it as an intervention. It's not a matter of a sustainable thing. Now, I was beginning to say that you, Prof, you have had such experience, because I recall in one of the discussions here where you actually took it upon yourself, going to your state, and you wanted to, engage the youth or those who does not have job, and at the end of the day, you had a package that you gave to each one of them, and right in front of you, they went across the street selling it. And what that tells us is that there's hunger, because when a man is hungry, any money you give to him, he has to satisfy his destiny. But we're talking about government policy that would stimulate the economy, government policy that will give people jobs, government policy that will make sure that Nigeria is within the global...
Let me pose another question, because there's a friend of mine who was involved with me and several others in the so-called struggles, the concerned professional struggle in 1993. A few months ago, successful, he's actually chairman of a bank today, says to me, look, leave these politicians alone. Nigeria cannot make progress with politicians. Forget it. There's nothing you do that will make Nigeria make progress because of politics and government. Why don't we take the attitude that we can save Nigeria by using the model of Italy? Let the private sector be the essence of Nigeria's ascendancy. And I'm going, well, I don't know. Maybe I've just exhausted my brain. What do you think of that model?
Yeah, but then, Prof, you know why somehow that model may not work so much for Nigeria is that the politicians also will not let the private sector be. We have a case study, and that's exactly the area of intervention I wanted to make. And that is the aspect of part of the thing that government must think towards in 2019 is to strengthen private-public partnership, because very, very important. A case study of the geometric power plant in Aba, that can generate 184 megawatts and can give the industrial Aba City uninterrupted power supply for 24 hours. And the question has been, what stops the river from flowing? So I think these are many more are the things the government could do to boost the economy.
But you see, again, you come to a point, you come back to politics. Critical to the effectiveness of many private sector enterprises is strength of institutions. Institutions are often affected by state action, the way that politicians act. Nigeria is considered a recursive economy, 2 steps forwards, 4 steps backwards, because essentially institutions are fractured, and so when a good policy leads to some progress, the weak institutional arrangement is pushed back. Now, in my opinion, and the opinion of many people much, much smarter than myself, one of the biggest risks of doing business in Nigeria is regulatory risk. A regulator is more likely to be responsible for the failure of an industry than whatever shenanigans the private sector people are supposed to be playing up. But they don't realize it, because the mentality of power in Nigeria, if you are in a position of authority, you are a father. Everybody is a foolish child. Can you beat them into, and so regulators come with things that they don't understand well enough, because industry is always several pieces ahead of the regulators. The brightest guys go to industry, and the guys who are regulating are usually not half as smart as the guys that are regulating. So they can't catch up with the guys. And so they take that anger.
Prof, back to the question you posed here to us about the Italian model. Why can't we, as citizens, take the government away from us? I think such things have already been in existence here. Because I don't think an average Nigerian feels the impact of the government. An average Nigerian doesn't even care what the government is doing. It's only during election that you see some of them, because of hunger, they want to get involved. We provide our own water, we provide our own electricity, we do everything for ourselves. So, of what impact would any Nigerian say that, oh yes, the government is doing for them? So, in other words, we need to, they have to be.
The impact is government.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, are we feeling it? We are not feeling it.
What I would do as a government is sit down with few people, maybe 5 people. Look at the critical areas where Nigeria should compete in a global space. Look at the critical areas that we need. Maybe 2 or 3 areas. If we have the capacity, human capacity, if we don't have, who else in the world has it? Send a bunch of bright people there. Give ourselves 7 years. They get all those things and come, because that's the trend globally now. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I was in Singapore, and the people were like, because of traffic, they needed to expand their airports. Okay. Yeah. And what they did was, rather than have foreigners come and build for them, they sent their engineers to study different countries' models, came back, sat down, designed, and began to build.
Yeah, but those can only work when there's continuum in business. In government. Don't forget that government of Nigeria have designed itself that where this one stops, the other one will come in and take a different direction altogether. I think our problems are
unfortunately
enormous.
Time is about to prevent the continuity of this program. So we're just going to throw it out there and say 2019 is going to be more challenging than we even imagined. But it is possible, because as we say, if you can dream it, you can make it happen. Sure. Let's have a dream for 2019. Let's be conscientious in trying to make that dream come alive, because it is possible for Nigeria, in spite of all the uncertainty, to come out of 2019 different than we are thinking in terms of the challenges that are before us. So we got to go, but you can continue following us on the social media, Instagram, Facebook, etc., as I'm scrolling on the screen right now. And we hope that you do your bit to make this economy work in 2019. We've suffered enough. It's time for progress. See you next week.